Hello, beautiful people. It's a girl Genie and it's Genie's signature. So, welcome you all to my tutorial for today. So, today we'll be making this beautiful skirt and two-in-one top. Yeah, this net, and then the I don't know how to say it. It's a top, a reversible top like this. This is what my client sent to me to make for her daughter. So I decided to replicate mine, which you'll be seeing very, very shortly. It came out actually very beautiful. So you can wear both sides. You can wear either the plain side or the flowered part. So that was inspiration, and this is what I made. The only thing is that I didn't remember while shooting this video to turn the reverse side. But if you watch the tutorial, you're going to be seeing in-depth detail on how I achieved the reverse side. So it's possible for my client to wear the reverse side of this fabric because I made use of a plain fabric for that. But because she told me she wanted this main side as the main side of, because the skirt is going to be the same thing with this upper part, so she told me to do it like that. So anytime she wants to wear the reverse side, she can as well wear the reverse side that is plain black, just like you saw on the thumbnail and just like you saw on the at the beginning of this video. So this was what I made. I had to pin it on my mannequin because it's not exactly my mannequin size, so that is why it's looking somehow at the lower part like this, but it came out exactly as you saw on the thumbnail. So I'm going to be going over to drafting of this beautiful piece right about now. So I'm drafting this on the paper first, and I've gone ahead to rule out my basic measurements like my chest line, my bust point on the bust, half length, and then the full length of the top, which is going to be about 24 inches with sewing allowances included. So now the next thing I did now is to get my nipple to nipple measurement and then took my darts. So for my dart, I took 1.5 on one side, and then the side facing me where I'm ruling right now, I did half an inch, and I connected it to my on the bust measurement, and then I'll carve out my bust like that. You know, just the usual way we cut our bustier. If you know how to cut a bustier, this should be very, very easy for you to achieve. So I'm coming over to the shoulder part, and then I'll divide my shoulder into two because I've already sloped my shoulder by 1 inch, and I did my neckline of 3 by 3 inches. That is the basic one. So I'm connecting that straight to meet my bust band measurement in the middle like that. So in order to tighten that chest area, I really don't need to tighten the chest area. So I'll just take my darts on the shoulder. I'll take about half inch on the shoulder and then connect straight to meet my chest line like so. Because we want that area firm and tight, so you don't want it gaping. So you need to put your darts. So this was just confusing at this point because I was trying to connect it very well, but the thing was behaving funny. So now I need to extend that line that I used as my dart. So just extend by 1 inch that you used because we used half inches, half inch, I beg your pardon. And then reconnect your armhole like so. So the next thing for me to do now is to come to do my side dart. So for my side dart, I'll be using 2 inches because the half length for the front is 18 and then the half length for the back is 16 inches. So the difference between that is 2 inches. So I used that 2 inches and then I connected my side darts. So now I'll be dividing my bust by 4 and then add my sewing allowances and then all the necessary allowances needed. Just go ahead and do that. So whatever you have on your chest line should automatically be on your bust line. So now for the waist, I'll divide my waist by 4. Mark that and then add back the sewing allowances I used as my darts and then add 2 inches sewing allowances. So for the length of the top, I'll divide the hip measurement because it's going to be getting over to the hip line. Divide by 4, add back your darts, and then you add your sewing allowances. So at this point, my paper was not enough. So I'm going to go ahead and then join to make up for that. So I'll be using my tape like this to tape it, to join it together. So that's what we have. So I'll just go ahead and add my sewing allowances and then I'll connect all the points together. So I didn't have my marker here, so I was using my pen. So I believe you're seeing what I'm doing very well. Just follow exactly what I'm doing and you'll be getting exactly what I did. So now go ahead and cut this out. Just go ahead and cut this out. So pattern drafting is very good, especially for some styles that are like this. You can just go ahead and draft directly on your fabric. So you need to draft it on your paper first before transferring to your fabric because it's going to be helping you to make lesser mistakes. You understand what I mean? So now I'm cutting out the dots. Just follow the process and you're good to go. So now whatever you have on this side, so that's my side that. So just cut out like that. Whatever you have on this side, you're going to be repeating it on this other side. Like use your marker, your pen, your pencil, whatever you used. Make sure that what you have on this side is going to be on that side because we're going to be opening it up to get the design for the front. So I've gone ahead to do that and this is what we have. I did the shoulder darts that were supposed to be on the shoulder on both sides. So I'll be opening that up temporarily and then tape it down. Just open it up about almost at the bust point area and then close it out with your either your paper tape or your sellotape. Any tape that you have handy, just use it and close it up like so. So all this is in a bid to avoid gaping around that chest area because you don't want it gaping. So I've gone ahead to tape it down and then the next thing for us to do now is to tape my side darts as well. So let me cut it out like this again so that I'll be able to fold it in like this and then use my tape to hold it down on the sides as well. You do the same thing on the other side as well. So when you look at it very well, you see that there are some spots at the sides that are not properly aligned because of flipping the darts thing. So you're going to be making up for that. It's either you make it up on your paper right here or you make it up when you're cutting your fabric. But I will be making it up with my pieces of paper because I don't want stories that touch the heart because while cutting on the fabric you may forget. So it's better you do that. So now just temporarily cut out the neckline because we're not needing that yet. Just for it to look as what we are doing. So now the next thing for me is to do now is to properly align the waist area. Just see what I'm doing. You need the lines, just properly align it and then use your tape to tape it down as well. Don't mind this tape, it was just behaving funny because I didn't have my paper tape again, so I had to make use of a sellotape. So just tape it down as if you've finished sewing your fabric, but this time on a paper. So just align those lines properly like that. Good. So this is what we have. You don't need to do the bust area because we know it's going to be okay. So let me make up for the paper by the side. You can see. So you need to make it up so that you not forget when you're cutting it out on your fabric. So align all that area just to fit in perfectly. And then you repeat that on the other side as well. And so this is what we have. So it's complete right here in the front. So now in order for us to achieve that beautiful line in there, so you can see the way the posterior is going to be here. So in order for us to get that design at the upper part, before we go over to the lower part. So for the upper part, you need to come to wherever, which side you want it to be because it's going to be reversible anyway. So any side should be appropriate. So from that shoulder line on the left hand side, I came down by about 3 inches. I came down by about 3 inches right there and then connecting like this to meet the other side of the armhole in a slanted format, like so. So I need to recheck so that I'll know whether I'm getting it well. Yeah. So now what you're going to do is that from that armhole, because you don't want your armhole choking you when you wear it. So I would advise, I wanted to increase this. I went up higher by 1 inch because I felt like it was not slanted enough. So I went up 1 inch higher than what I did before. And then from that line, I came in by about 1.5 inches and then carved it out to be like that. So that is basically what you're going to be doing. From your armhole, come down by about 2 or 2.5 inches. Then from there, you go in again by 1.5 inches before slanting the line to meet the other armhole. And then you reconnect your armhole. You know, it's not going to be straight again. So that was what I did there. So that you have breathing space around your armpit area. So now I slanted to meet the other armhole side, and that is how it's going to be looking. So this is quite easy. I believe you understand what I explained so far. So I'm through with the upper part as it is. So if you want it pointed more, you can go higher. So this is entirely dependent on your choice. So now in order for us to get this design at the lower part, this is where your creativity actually comes in place. You may do it better than the person that you saw, or you may even do it worse. So you just need to be creative to achieve this beauty. So at first I was trying to draw it offhand like this, but I had to go and check the picture again to get exactly how it looks before I got the look that I have. So right there at the first that line, I went up by about 4 inches and then slanted it down and carved it out to meet my sewing allowance on this side. But before going that, I came in for my sewing allowance by about 4 inches and then gave it a very big curve. And then at this point, I didn't want it to be straight the way it was looking. I just wanted something different. You know, when you're creating something, you don't actually need it to be the exact same way the person did it. You can put your own designs and then it will come out looking better than the person's own. So this was just my creativity in place. So whatever you have on this side should be the same on this side. So I saw that that place was lacking half an inch, so I made it up by going by half an inch on both sides like so, and then I reconnected that, and this is what I have. So this is what I have, and then I'll go ahead and cut this out like so. So like I said, this is where your creativity really matters. So just just be creative, explore, and you'll be glad you did. So now I'm just going over to cutting off the lower parts. My mom came to show me something and then I told her I was recording, so she had to go back. So now I'm following the lines that I drew. So you can see. So this is how it's going to look. And I like the way it came out to be. So whatever I have there now, I'll separate all this now. So I'm trying to align it to show that it aligns on both sides. But it's very important. So now I'll just go ahead and separate this, removing my cello tape. Take it easy when you are doing this. You don't want your paper tearing up. So just take it easy when you're separating it. So I've gone ahead to separate it like this, and this is what we have. So you can see. So when I want to cut on my fabric, I'll just go ahead and cut like this. So now I'll go over to cutting off the back piece. So for the back piece, it's just like a normal basic. Sorry, I cut this out. I'll be replacing it later. Do you know I've totally forgot that it's going to be a top. I was thinking I was going to attach this to a half length. So I cut out that. I just did shoulder to half length. Can you believe that? So I had to make it up for that for the length later. So I'm just drafting out the basic bodies like this. You can see that there's no zipper allowance. Yeah, it's not a mistake. It's going to be a corset. So it's going to be tied at the back. We're not going to be using a zipper. But if you want to use a zipper, just to make sure you had your zipper allowances. So now I'm just drafting out the basic bodies for the back. So whatever you have as a shoulder measurement should be for the one at the front as well, because we're not using the shoulder anyways, but just for drafting sake so that you will not make mistake, you understand. So this is the waist, and then I'm connecting to my bust or chest line like that. So now this was where I remember that this is actually supposed to be 24 inches in length. So I made it up, and then I'm placing my hip measurement like so. So I'll just go ahead and connect everything together, and then I'll go ahead and cut this out. So now if you want, you can remove the upper part because we are not needing that. So where we need is from the bust line down to the hip line. So in order to do our corset loops, I went in by 2 inches from the upper part and then 1 inch at the lower part because I want it in a slanted way. So I'm going ahead to cut this out. And so this is what I have. So that's where the holes are going to be. So now we have our front pieces and then we have our back pieces. But for the back piece, if you want your neckline to be round, you can come down by half an inch and then connect it. But I just want it straight as it looks. So for the side, I came and placed the side piece of the front on the side piece of the back so that I'll be able to slant the sides like so that it would align properly. So we're done with our drafting, and then I'll go ahead and cut all this on my fabric. So I'm using the doll face for the reversible side, and then I'll use my Ankara fabric for the other side. So I've gone ahead to cut this out. So these are the front pieces, and then these are the doll faces. So for the doll face, I ironed my ST on it. I didn't iron on the fabric because the fabric is thick, so I didn't need to iron any ST on it. It was only on the doll face fabric that I did the ironing for that. And then I'm gonna need to attach my black foams that I'll be using to attach. So I'll go ahead and sew all this and then be back to show you. So I've gone ahead to join it together, my bustier, and you can see the way it looks. And then I decided to add a boning at the lower part of that to give it structure. So I did the same thing on the doll face and I attached my bonings. So the next thing to do now is to go ahead and close it out. I'll be closing my lining and doll face, that's it's serving as a lining anyways. I'll be closing it separately and then close the fabric separately because this is going to be an inseam finishing. So I'll place my bonings at the back like this just to give it stability because you know we're going to be tying it at the back, so we don't want it to ripping off. So at the pointed part in the front on this doll face, I added a boning as well. This boning is to give it strength so that that pointed edge will not be collapsing. So it's going to be helping that one in the front to stand. You understand that pointed part you saw? That is the whole mix. And then for the sides, if you want it standing, I equally added bones to that. If you didn't see that properly, you can just reverse it, rewind a little, and then you go and check it out. Yeah. So I did the same thing here, and then I'm opening up the side seams. I'm using my iron to open it up, and then I'll go ahead and use my doll face to turn it out so you can see the bonings as like I said. So go ahead and turn right from this armhole, the front part and then the lower part. You're going to be leaving the sides because that's where we're going to be creating our boning channels. So I've gone ahead to do this and I've given it a very good press. And so this is what we have for now. As you can see, the reverse side is very neat. So if you want to wear the reverse side, you can as well because it's going to be reversible, like I said. That is why all the seams are inseam finishing. So now I just quickly came here to show you how I'm going to be cutting the net that will be worn inside of the gown. So I folded my fabric into four. I'll be cutting both the front and the back together. So this is just me drafting a basic normal bodice. Just get your shoulder measurement, your bust point, and then you connect your chest line, and then you go straight to your hip line and then measure that. On the thumbnail, the person made use of like a crop version, but I made it longer because my client was like, oh, she may use it for something else, so I have to make it longer. All she will do is when she's wearing her skirt, she'll just tuck it in and then everything will be perfect. Yeah. So that's me drafting the armhole curve, and then come to the hip line, divide by 4. Make sure it's free because you don't want it very tight. So just go ahead and connect and then cut it out. So if you've enjoyed watching this tutorial, why have you not subscribed? And why have you not liked this video? It's virtually free. You don't need to pay any time. So kindly subscribe so that you'll be getting detailed tutorials. And you'll be notified anytime I click or I upload a video. Just after subscribing, just click on that bell like thing right there, and it's going to be signaling you anytime I upload my videos. So this is the front piece and then the back pieces. You can see how beautiful it looks. So all you need to do is use your bias to turn the necklines and then join it by the sewing allowances you have on your sides, and then fix your sleeves. So I'll be cutting the sleeves right about now. So I'll fold my fabric into 4 as well because I'll be cutting both the front and the back together. So for the length of the sleeve is 24 inches, but I ended up cutting out 22 inches because I'll be adding a bell button to this, like a flare at the wrist area. So I need to reduce that so that by the time I add that, it will make up for the sleeve. So just go ahead and draft out your basic sleeve and then cut it out like this. So this is what we have. And then for the flare parts, just I didn't really calculate anything here because I just wanted it to be full. So I ended up using 2.5 for the radius, and then for the length I made use of 4 inches. So the two are you can use 2 inches as well, but I decided to use 2.5 because I wanted to pleat it at some points because I don't want it to just be there. I want it to be full at that wrist area. So like I said, it's only choice that matters. Whatever you want, you can go ahead and do. So I've gone ahead to do that, and then I'll cut this out. So I'll be cutting out 2. This is 1. So I'll fold again and then cut out the others for the other sleeve. So we have the 2 for the 2 sleeves, as you can see. So now go ahead and cut it and sew it, and then I'll be back. So I've gone ahead to join it. As you can see our net top. I've gone ahead to finish it up with my bias, close it out, and I added a zip at the back so that it will be easy for my client to wear. So you can see the sleeve, how full it is. That is exactly what I wanted. So we're basically through with our tutorial. So for this, I've gone ahead to do this. So you can see I've gone ahead to place my panel where the corset is going to be tied at the back. So you can see that this is actually reversible. You can wear this side because no seam is obvious, no seam is showing, and it's looking very, very neat. So any which side you want. So I'll go ahead to bead this. I'll be doing the beading off camera, and then that is how we achieved this beautiful piece. Thank you all, and God bless you. See you all in my next tutorial. This is Genius Signatures, and I'm signing out. Bye.